Hello, I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lucy.
Welcome to Tudoriferous, a special Christmas episode.
Christmas!
Christmas, yay!
And we're going to do what we did last year, although hopefully it won't become quite so death-ridden and scatological as it did last year.
Yes. Well, I think we took two different approaches this year. You were going to ask me things I didn't know about.
Well, I didn't know either. Just things that I've thought, wow, that's interesting. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you gone with then?
I've gone with thoughtful questions. Things that over the time as I've been writing, I put little notes beside like, oh my goodness, would you want to do this? And I thought, oh, let's go with that.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds better than mine.
It's okay. It's a good mix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you want to start this time? Because last time I started and it turned out that I just muscled in on one of your questions.
Well, we won't be doing that this year. Okay.
Right. Okay.
We have talked an awful lot about emblems. We've got Catherine of Aragon with her pomegranate, Margaret Beaufort with her portcullis.
Which I saw recently.
Did you?
In a town near here, very near here, about 4 miles from here, called Langport. And they've got what they call the Flying Chapel, which is a chapel. It sort of goes over the top of the road, and it's a Freemasons chapel, and it's got Margaret Beaufort's portcullis.
Really?
And it is hers. It is hers. It's not just a
so
random
cool.
one. Yeah, but I don't know what her connection was.
Neither do I, especially with the Freemasons.
Yeah, I should think that probably came later.
I don't know.
Well, now we've got Margaret. Did Margaret kill the princes and then the Freemasons are
Yes.
in there?
Yes.
Oh, I
Did the
can feel a Dan
Freemasons
Brown
decide that
coming
Arthur
on.
was going to be too strong of a king and wanted Henry VIII instead?
Yeah. No, I think is probably the answer to that. If only Dan Brown had said at some point, no, actually, this is rubbish, isn't it? Well, I better not say that. I'll get sued. Okay. Right,
Okay.
emblems.
Emblems. So, since they got to choose their emblems, what would yours be and why? And it can't be anything that they didn't have in Tudor times.
Right. Well, I suppose my surname's Hines, so I suppose a couple of deer would make sense in that sort of rebusy way that the Tudors loved. Like, Morton had a ton and a barrel and an eagle or something. He didn't have a fork. and yes, Bray had a hemp braid, didn't he? So, yeah, a couple of deer. And what else? I don't know. Perhaps I might have a gardening trowel as part of it because that's what I do for a living. So it makes sense. Yeah, a gardening trowel and two deer holding it up.
Oh, that's
more
good.
more like a coat of arms really than an emblem. But
Oh, it still works as an emblem. Anne of, why can't I think of her name? Anne Boleyn.
Cleves.
She had a falcon.
Oh, okay. What would you have then?
I've been thinking about this, and it didn't occur to me until yesterday when I had a doctor's appointment. I think mine would be a phoenix over a spinning wheel. Little history, I did not make it in life. I passed away, but I managed to come back, so the phoenix makes sense. And I find my most zen moment in life is when I'm spinning wool at my spinning wheel. So I thought that would be actually a really cool joint emblem.
Would. And a nice image.
Yes.
In itself.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
We could get Luna Cherry, if she's willing, to actually
she's
make
got
our
time.
emblems. Oh, wait till
yeah.
till everybody sees her stuff. It's gorgeous. I was so impressed.
Yes, well, you'd have seen a few. And yes, they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
So thank you very much. That's a Christmas present for us.
Yes, thank
having
you
these wonderful
so
pictures.
much. Really way better than we expected, to be honest. I looked at the
It's
was
always
like, oh my
worrying.
goodness.
When people offer to do things, you think, well, what if I don't like it? But we love them. They think
Yes.
they're absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, really, really good. Okay, your question.
Okay, mine's a bit different. What was hoggling?
In my head, all that came up was cuddling a pig.
Well, yeah, it's a bit more intimate than that. Not,
Oh,
not
please?
in a nasty.
No.
No, not in. Well, English people will understand this. Not in a David Cameron way.
Okay.
No, but
Children's show. Family friendly.
people would dress up in the cooked heads of the animals. And I was
Ew.
thinking, do you remember that episode of Friends where Joey puts a turkey on his head? I didn't dream that. That did happen, didn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch Friends. Sorry,
Ah,
everybody.
no,
I don't really watch TV. I watch documentaries.
No, well, I
but-
wasn't an avid watcher, but I sort of have a vague image of him with a turkey
Okay,
on his
now I
head.
gotta look
And
it
that's
up.
what they used to do, particularly
Were they cooked at least?
pigs. Yeah, they were cooked. You'd put the pig, like you'd have the pig's head on the table. I bet it was somebody who was in a room on his own with a pig's head that was going to go on the table, and he just couldn't resist putting it on.
Oh, gosh. The pictures are actually of Courtney Cox with the turkey on her head with
Oh.
sunglasses on.
Ew,
And she's
nasty.
recreating it from another show. What show did she get from? Oh, she took it from Mr. Bean and Friends. It was an homage to Mr. Bean.
All right, Jasper Tudor.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I knew there was a niggling image in there.
Yep, you're right. That's gross.
Yeah, they used to put them on, dance about.
Oh, that's
That was called hoggling. Later, they were replaced by wooden animal masks when obviously somebody thought, this is absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
Let's not do this again. There was another derivation I came across, which is also associated with Christmas. And it's a rather obscure one. It appears in parish accounts all over England. And there's a sudden windfall of money in the parish coffers following Christmas. And it was said to be donated by a hoggler.
Oh.
And yet nobody is sure
What?
who they were or precisely what they did.
Oh. So you think it was just somebody with a animal's head, so he was anonymous. Here's your money. Thank you, sir.
But it's all over the place. There were guilds of hogglers. It's not a local. There is a local one in Tintinhull in Somerset. There was a hoggling steward. But where they got the money, was it a tithe or a donation from the hoggler himself? Nobody knows. And it's just weird because how can you have a guild of something that nobody knows what they do? And why they donated money at Christmas every
It's their
year.
version of the Freemasons.
Oh, yes. So that is two very disparate ideas of what hoggling was, but maybe one came from the other. Maybe a load of men got together and danced about in a pig's head and thought, hey, we ought to get together and do this every year and do it for money. We'll do it for charity.
The reason I'm not surprised this happens at Christmas is the amount of alcohol we have discussed that they're drinking at Christmas. Everybody is sloshed.
Yes, you think that we drink a lot these days,
Yeah,
and
no.
I know the younger generation thinks we drink a lot of older generations, which we do, but we don't drink as much as the Tudors did.
No, not at all.
No. Okay, well that's hoggling.
Interesting.
Interesting but inconclusive, like most of our
Most of our
episodes.
questions, yes. It would be interesting if one day somebody goes, oh, hey, I found all these obscure references in a document that was in a priest hole that we didn't know existed. That would be cool. That would be very cool.
Or someone gets in touch with us and says, hey, I'm a hoggler.
Yes,
They're
please
not,
tell
they're
us.
not Tudor. Yes, we do it every year.
Yes.
If you're a hoggler, please let us know.
Maybe it has something to do with a hogshead of mead.
Yeah,
I don't know. Why is that called a hogshead of mead?
don't know.
I don't know either. We're so helpful today.
It's Christmas.
Okay, next question. We have spoken a lot about women of rank. If you had to live the life of one of them, though, which one would you be willing to be?
Which rank or which person, which woman?
That we've covered. None of them have a happy life.
Yeah, no, we were asked this question on our question and answer thing, but that was for everybody, and we chose Jakob Fugger because he
Yes.
seemed to have the least misery in his
Yes.
life. But for a woman, right, okay, we've got Margaret Beaufort, we've got Margaret, Scottish Margaret.
Yes.
We've got Anna Brittany that we did on Patreon. We've got Katerina Conaro that we did on Patreon. We've got Katerina Sforza. We do a lot more women on Patreon. Lucretia Borgia.
Yeah.
Running Kay. A lot of women on Patreon. Who else have we done?
Hold on, I'm going to pull up our list.
Because I don't want to be any of that lot so far. the ones we've done on the main feed.
Okay, Anna Brittany, Cecily of York, Catalina the Slave.
Ooh. Margaret Keble, the one who was abducted.
Yes. Margaret Tudor, who we talked about. She's the Scottish one.
Yeah. Well, hers, yeah, I was going to say hers was a life of ups and downs, but really they all were, weren't they?
Yes.
We did all the York girls.
Yes.
Right, I mean, their lives were very much up and down, weren't they? I mean,
Yep.
some more than others.
Isabella of Castile.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's a possibility because
She had agency.
yes, she wasn't pushed around by events. She organised events. Mm-hmm. That makes it sound as if she put on festivals.
No.
I mean, she was a powerful person that took life in her own hands.
Yes.
But she was horrifically anti-Semitic.
Yes. Lady Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah, she did all right. I mean, her husbands, we thought her husbands were awful, but presumably she thought they were all right.
Did she? Birkin Warbeck.
Well, you might have felt it went up from there. If you think about Perkin Warbeck, one of her husbands was executed. I mean, Margaret Beaufort, she didn't see her son for all that time.
Yeah, and had to worry about him being executed all those years. But then she was Queen Mother. And she was in charge.
Yeah, I think she enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But she was in a lot of pain with arthritis.
All of them probably were.
Yeah.
Nobody had painkillers back then, and none of them ate well.
Oh, come on, there must be somebody who had a nice life.
No. Isabella of Castile, I was like, yeah, she's in charge of everything. She lost every child except for Juana.
Yeah.
And Katerina. She lost, yeah, 3 girls. 3 girls survived.
Yeah, well, I suppose we've done Catherine of Aragon. I mean, we did the really grim bit of her life, didn't we?
Yes, losing child after child after child and then getting kicked out by her husband.
I was thinking more of the early bits where she was for 7 years just sort of
Yes.
in limbo,
And
not
poor,
knowing who she was.
eating stale fish. It's harder than expected, isn't it?
We did Mrs. Suniff, who was accused of killing a baby. Can I step out of this one and just be me?
No.
I'm really appreciating being me at the moment.
This is why it's nice to do it for Christmas. We're like, hey, my life was awesome.
Yes, counting my blessings here. Is that the lot then?
That's
Is
the
there no
lot
more?
of them.
Well, Catherine of Aragon, yeah, it started. She had a nice childhood, probably, despite being taken to lots of
War-torn
horrific
areas
war-
and battles and
Yes.
hearing screaming constantly.
Yeah, apart from that.
I can't wait. I'm hoping that our listeners actually come in with why and who they'd want to be from the women.
Yeah,
Like, please do. I'm really interested in that.
I'm going to go for. I don't want to go for Isabella of Castile because. Oh, she did some horrible, horrible things.
Yes, she did. They all did. Well, no.
I've
couple of
been
them
looking up
didn't.
the Patreon one. Katerina spent some time in a dungeon.
Yes. Could be Isabella d'Este. You're the mean one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I don't want to be mean. She was horrible. I think I might go for Cecily of York.
Oh, you want to lose all your sons one after another.
No, I don't. I was thinking she ended up living on the Isle of Wight with somebody she chose.
Yes, very true.
But yeah.
She went through Cecily of York. Yes, the younger one. I'm thinking of her mother. Her mother lost her sons. Cecily of York, we don't know of any of her children dying.
Yes, we do. The 2 daughters and the husband died in quick succession. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. It were all in pretty much the same year, I think. Oh God, I've gone off her now. Well, I'm not gone off her. I mean, gone off being her. I don't know. What can you choose?
I am going with Margaret of Burgundy. Her life was hard. She had to fight a lot of battles, but she didn't lose her children. She lost Mary, her stepdaughter, but she didn't
She didn't have any children. That would be...
Yeah, but in a time where you're going to lose them all. And she had her stepchildren and then her grandchildren that she was exceptionally fond of and incredibly active with.
Yeah. And we've got Margaret of Austria coming up.
Yes.
I don't... No, you're shaking your head.
I don't want to be Margaret of Austria.
Okay, all right.
She's coming up and I'm studying her and no, I would not choose her.
Some explanation about that. You were going to do Hannah, but the books haven't arrived.
I'm still waiting for the books. I've reached out to the university again because the book doesn't exist in real life anymore. I'm having to get it printed. So I've reached out to them again and they're trying to track down where it was because it's now been 3.5 months since it's been ordered. Yes. But it's the most complete work and I don't want to do an episode about her without it because there's a very key incident in her life that will make a huge difference one way or the other, and that book's supposed to settle that question.
Well, we'll do her next year.
And
sometime.
No, I would not want to be Juana. There's no way.
No. No. I think you're right, Margaret of Burgundy.
Yeah, safest bet.
Relatively decent sort. But then she's gone through an entire history being known as the diabolical one.
Actually,
Diabolical
the Diabolical Duchess doesn't come up until after she has passed away. Like one of them did, Louis XII did call her the Diabolical Duchess, but that didn't become her epithet for quite a while. And if you're in the Low Countries, that is not how they think of you.
No.
Not at all. They love you. You are very, very well loved there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes. Her life wasn't bad.
No.
When you put it all in perspective.
Yes, and the people that she did interact with, they had really high respect for her. And she got technically a happy home life with all of her stepchildren and step-grandchildren.
Including her nephew or whatever he's meant to be, Perkin Warbeck.
Yes.
Actually, she was very upset
when
he was executed.
Yeah. Did she believe? Did she not? We don't know.
Don't know. But then if we were her, we'd know. So it's worth being her just for that.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go with her. And if anybody else can give any reason why we should have gone with anybody else.
Yes, please tell us.
God, we're sorry. This is a miserable podcast you've tuned into, isn't it?
It's not miserable. This is awesome. Our lives are great. This is a reflection on what we lived through today. It's awesome.
Yes.
We have nothing really that we can complain about.
I definitely don't at all. So, yes. Okay, another question then. Why were ghost stories told at Christmas?
You know what? I have no idea. I don't understand why it's Christmas and not All Hallows Eve.
Well, there is a reason, and it's partly for pragmatic reason that people just had more time at Christmas because they weren't allowed to work.
Yeah.
So you had all that time, and it gets dark early, so
Start
what are you
thinking
going to do?
spooky?
Well, you just tell each other stories in the dark. But it's also that winter solstice was said to be the time when the veil between this world and the next was at its thinnest.
Really? I thought that was All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve. Really?
I think I've heard it for that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently Christmas as well.
Interesting.
So presumably it gave a sort of added frisson that while you're telling these stories, the spirits might actually be in the room
behind
with
you, and you can feel a tapping on your shoulder, and there's nobody there.
Mm. But I was wondering, if you believed that, where did that put purgatory? I mean, had these people come from
Oh, good question.
heaven? Had they come from purgatory? In a way, purgatory makes more sense for ghost stories because you feel they're in a sort of halfway
house.
In a waiting room, yeah.
Yeah, like those are and they'd be upset because they're not in heaven. But then if you're in purgatory waiting and ghosts are sometimes evil, you're going to hell, buddy. Like, fix what you're doing.
Well, it might be that they come back, be a bit like the bloke's name I can never remember, Francis Lovell's dad, saying, "Where's my monument? Where's my prayers? We've done nothing. I'm stuck here forever.
I've got more than 10,000 years here. You don't understand." Oh, my goodness. That would be hilarious if it actually happened, though, because then you really would have a very good life to avoid purgatory.
Yes.
Oh, I kind of hope that there are ghosts and I can be one so that I get to see what happens in the future. All the things we learn. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not going to know so many things.
Yeah, well, I'll have to come back as a ghost and finish this damn podcast because I'm not going to make it. What have we got, 29 years or something?
Yes, and we expected to get all the way to the Georgians when we first discussed it. I don't think we're going to get there.
No.
Somebody else, take up the torch for the Stuarts, please.
And I think when we worked out it was going to be 29 years, we weren't doing cameo episodes or nearly as many special episodes.
No, and we weren't doing our Patreon episodes that we were originally discussing. We're going to be 2 episodes, and now they're like 4 or 5.
Yes.
More.
Plus the extra ones for the nobles and monarchs.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey-ho.
We're still doing it.
Yeah. Right, next one.
Next one. Oh, if you were living at that time, but knew all of the advances we have now, what would be the hardest loss for you to cope with? Not people, technology, and not healthcare, because that's the automatic for everybody.
Yeah.
No healthcare, no dentistry, no healthcare.
But okay, apart from the obvious ones. Well, vegetables are quite nice, I think. If I were to be quite high status, I think I'd be yearning for a few vegetables.
Would you, though?
But Catherine of Aragon put in a special request saying, I do want vegetables, and they sent a gardener over to grow her vegetables.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because they ended up with a very large vegetable garden at Hampton Court.
Mm.
So they had vegetables year-round. So
perhaps that was for staff. I don't know.
Soup stock only. And the chances of you being a peer are fairly low, so you'd get more vegetables than you would.
Yeah, it's like these people who say that they're reincarnated, and it's always from Cleopatra or
I don't
Alexander the Great.
Thanks.
It's never from a peasant.
No.
I wouldn't go for the obvious, really modern ones like computers, CD players and things, because when I was growing up, we didn't have them and we were perfectly happy.
Very true.
And definitely not television, because
I don't watch it.
Buff. No, I don't watch it. I think the sheer number of books, the ease of buying books,
that's a good answer,
would be a big one. I mean, I find we get a delivery from a well-known online retailer.
Yeah.
Quite often clutching books in their hand, and you say, "Oh, lovely, thank you."
Yes.
Because it's a present by then, you forget you've paid for
it.
Yes. Like strangers just turn up with presents all the time.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't care. It's a delivery that I paid for. Yay, I got something.
I think it might be that.
Good answer.
And I think the lack of light. If you've grown up with it, you would be fine with it. But we're so used to everything being lit up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got 3 lights on in here. The idea of having to go to bed with a candle, it just seems a bit spooky as much as anything.
Oh, but you never go to bed alone. That's not a thing for anybody.
That's true. Oh, no, that. The lack of privacy. Oh, that would drive me mad.
Reverse.
I know that's not technology, yes. I went to dropped my granddaughter off at a place of commune where my daughter used to live. Lovely, beautiful place in the woods. The lovely little sort of hobbit houses fill the woods, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I was thinking, yeah, I'd like to live here, but on my own.
Yes.
I don't think I could do communes.
No.
I'm a miserable old loner.
Same.
All except the miserable bit.
We're not miserable. We're
loner.
introverted. We're not loners. We're introverted. Believe it or not, people who listen to a podcast of us talking,
Yes.
neither one of us are very big partiers or socializers. This is perfect. Just enough for my week.
Yes. Yes, us and Copernicus. I think we've all got something in common.
Yeah.
I think if I had to go back from now, I'd find the lack of solitude. Really difficult.
Yeah. I didn't even
What would you
consider
go
that.
for?
For me, it was running water. I grew up in a house that didn't have electricity. So that never bothered me. It was lovely. And in fact, for holidays, whenever my husband isn't home, I turn off the power. So you don't even hear the fridge humming. Like, it's funny when you turn everything off and just shut off everything but the appliances, how much every appliance hums. So I actually just go down to the main breaker and turn it off for a couple hours.
And flashes as well. I mean, it's like a discotheque in here at night. We've got the BT hub is going blue. We've got various things on charge flashing away.
Yeah,
we've got the lights,
talking about the internet.
the clock.
Yeah.
So,
but running water.
I don't know. I spent 10 years living on a boat, and I mean, we had running. Actually, no, the second boat I didn't have running water. I had a tank, and I just sort of dipped in it.
Okay.
And then when that was empty, I'd have to poodle down to a boatyard and fill it up again.
I was just thinking of doing laundry and stuff and having to haul all that water.
I used to cycle to the laundrette, or laundromat as you probably call it, with all my washing and the 2 kids sitting on the back of a tricycle.
Wait, what animal is it? Or there's a fantasy creature that carries all their possessions on their back. A knoll?
There's a caddisfly that sticks things on their back for disguise.
Oh. I still have to go to the laundromat. I quilt, and king-size quilts are exceptionally heavy. Do not try to wash them in your own washing machine. It will kill the motor.
Yeah, rag rugs. I make rag rugs, and they're the same because they got Hessian, and once the whole lot gets wet...
It's heavy. Yeah, take it to the laundromat to one of theirs. Oh, man, there's this stuff that I'm tempted to try. It's called Shangora, and it's dog hair mixed with wool. And it's big just dog hair is big in North America because natives would spin dog hair. They didn't have sheep. But every time you wash it, it smells like wet dog.
Oh, I love the smell of wet
Do
dog.
You?
Yes,
I
I
can't
do.
stand that smell. Unless it's like my clean puppy. I've just bathed him and he's got that lovely shampoo that he liked.
Really like
in
that
order
smell.
to get rid of the smell, you have to stick it in the freezer or in the snow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then...
Our blanket on our bed is a mixture of wool and dog hair.
Ah!
But it's not knitted that way. It's just that the dog molts profusely.
Okay, yes, I've got blankets like that. Every time you wash them, it's like, oh, I still have my dog. Wow, we got way off topic.
I can't remember what the question was. Yes. Oh, so
What would
yours
you
water.
miss?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, that's right. Okay.
You know what? I didn't think of the books. I think I'm switching to the books. Everything else I could tolerate, but not having books to
Yeah.
read. Either that or I deliberately put myself in a convent that had a library. But even then, a library in a convent is like 5 books.
Yeah, and they're all religious.
Yeah. Yeah, books. Books.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's above all else. Okay. New Year's Day in Tudor times was the 25th of March. Mm-hmm. Why was this day seen as the logical time to start the year?
Spring equinox around that time? I'm guessing.
Well, partly it seems to make much more sense to start it when nature starts,
Yes.
really, doesn't it? In the spring,
Yes.
rather than, for some reason, starting when you've still got so much of winter left to go. It is partly that, I think, but it's also the Annunciation. It's exactly 9 months before Christmas. So it's the start of little Jesus' gestation period.
Oh my goodness. So you're celebrating people having sex?
No, immaculate.
Oh, right.
That's what the whole religion is about.
Oops. There's that family show again.
Yes, I think you need to go back to Sunday school.
I do.
They did celebrate the 1st of January when people would bring gifts, and courtiers would bring gifts to the monarch, for instance. Anne Boleyn gave Henry VIII a table fountain that was designed by Hans Holbein, and it pumped rosewater into a basin so that all the diners could wash their hands.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've got small children, I think I can't think why they don't still have them.
Yeah.
But the actual New Year was March, and I think we should bring that back.
I think so
it makes
too.
a lot more sense.
Okay, we'll celebrate on the 25th of March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, we'll
Happy
say.
New Year. Happy logical New Year.
Okay. Well, it's not often the Tudors are more logical than we are.
No. No, not at all. Okay, next one.
Okay.
Women were always defined by their husband's trade or status. What trade or status would you like best to be your husband? And keep in mind, this dictates what your life is going to be like.
Well, merchant seems a pretty good one, doesn't it? It seems like the sort of sweet spot, really. I wouldn't want to be right.
What kind of merchant? Oh, they are different. Found that out when I was looking at the merchant guilds.
Wine, would that be a good one?
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. You'd be fairly wealthy, too.
Yeah. I mean, there's never going to be a time when people don't drink wine. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it seems to be the sort of sweet spot between being a noble or gentry or monarch, the royal family, which just sounds awful. I mean, we couldn't think of anybody we wanted to be, either male or female.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't want to be deadly poor because deadly.
Yes.
It's yeah. The winter would be terrifying. But merchant, although think about the Merchant of Venice, he lost, was it 5 ships in a storm and was completely ruined.
Yes.
Don't send all your ships out at once.
No.
Okay, I'll be a wine merchant.
Smart.
Wife that doesn't send all his ships out at once. Quite specific, but that's what I'd be. And I was going to say you'd live on the coast. No, you wouldn't live on the coast at all, would you?
You'd live
you
in
don't
London.
organise that part.
In grimy London.
You wouldn't have to. You could live in Exeter.
Okay.
Or, yeah, okay. A wine merchant's wife who never puts all his ships out at once and who lives in Exeter,
Okay.
near the cathedral.
Nice.
Near the ship inn, because that's nice too. It's down a little alleyway and it's full of beams and big fireplaces and things.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool.
That's okay. That's me.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I thought I'd want to be the wife of a blacksmith. because then my sons and husband could not be called to war.
And if you dislocated anything, he could pop it back in.
Yes. And if you broke your bone. That and the wife of a blacksmith was quite often blacksmithing alongside her husband. So instead of you being fully separated from your husband all the time as he's off on merchant adventures, you'd actually get to keep your husband by your side. That one sounded nice to me.
And in a village, they're quite high up, aren't they? They're looked up to.
Yeah, because they are the king. Is it the king of all trades? Because they have to make the tools for everybody else. That wasn't what I was thinking at the time. I was just thinking at the time is if you're in any kind of trade, your son or husband could be pulled off to go to war. But blacksmiths, if they did go to war, they were there as a blacksmith. They weren't there as a fighter. Safer.
Yeah. Yeah, just think about the Paston family and their boys going off to war, even though the parents seemed to think it was all their fault that they were going off to war. They were just skiving.
Yes. Yeah. You're not taking care of our property. I'm dying.
Yes. Yes. I can't go against the king.
Yes, I've been ordered. Yeah, I just thought that would be interesting. You'd be busy with your hands all the time, which is quite crafty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that idea, so I went with a blacksmith. Neat.
Yeah. Mind you, I'd look down on you because I'm
I am fine with that. By the end of it, I'll be deaf, so I won't hear you talking down to me anyway.
And I won't have drawn a sober breath for years.
Yeah, you get invited to Margaret Beaufort's house because you supply her
Yes.
wine. I actually read somewhere that a lot of blacksmiths did not go deaf because they'd stuff wool in their ears. Yeah. That's where that saying comes from.
I want to... No. No,
You're stuck with wool in your ears or whatever it was. What is that saying?
I don't know. I realised I was muddling up too, because where we say you can't pull the wool over my eyes, the Russians say you're hanging noodles from my ears.
Oh dear. Oh, I can't find that saying. It was pull the wool out of your ears.
All right.
When parents were trying to teach their kids.
Oh, right.
Yeah, pull the wool out of your ears. That's the saying.
Oh, yeah. What about a cloth ears?
Yeah.
That's probably similar. Sticking bits of cloth in your ears.
The origin is in the wool and cotton. Well, mills of northern England, where the noise of the machinery and build-up cotton dust made it difficult to hear people speaking. But it's also from, this one says it's from blacksmiths putting wool in their ears to avoid hurting their ears while they're working. So they weren't, I just assumed, there's me assuming, when we first started this podcast, that most of them were deaf. Same with armorers, because they wouldn't have hearing protection. Well, they made their own. Yeah, very cool. Interesting that they had health and safety back then.
Yes. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, you don't want to go deaf,
No.
do you? And if you're in a long line of a family of blacksmiths and all your elders are deaf, you'd think, well, I don't want that.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not an idiot. I'm going to stick something in my ears.
Especially when you know you can put your hands over your ears. Logically, you'd know, well, if my hands are busy, just stick something in them. Yeah.
And Ulysses put honey or something in his ears so he couldn't hear the sirens.
Oh.
The sirens singing to him and luring him onto the rocks.
Yes, it wasn't unknown, obviously.
Oh, no, he didn't. You know, his crew did.
Oh, yeah, and he got himself tied to the mast.
Yes, because he wanted to hear them. Yeah. Huh. Oh, all these things we half know today.
Yeah.
Right. What was barring out?
It sounds like you're just locking the door at the end of the night to prevent people from coming in.
Well, it is locking a door. It's locking the schoolmaster out.
Oh, I can see this. It's all boys' schools, so they were mischievous. That was a prank.
Yeah, it's a bit like getting to watch a video or play hangman at the end, last day of term.
Yeah.
A tradition, it was carried out at the beginning of the Christmas holidays and the Easter holidays, and you'd shut the schoolmaster out of the class. You did then let him in later because they'd then have a big feast and play games. So it was all sort of, I imagine a lot of giggling. It was probably all this part of the world turned upside down, and you have the highest is the lowest and the lowest is the highest. And
Yeah.
yeah, I quite like that because it was, you can imagine the boys, giggling about it, and it's all good fun, and in a way that probably Tudor schooling wasn't very often. And it carried on till Victorian times.
That's really cool. I wonder if Eton College still does it because they're very into their traditions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but they still wear top hats and tails.
Yes, I love it. It's funny how anybody who picks a time to hold on to a tradition, it's random. Like if I look at the mayors in England, quite a bit of them are wearing Tudor costumes.
Yes.
Tudor hats, Tudor robes, Tudor chains of office.
Yes.
And then you go to Eton and it's like top hats were what, 18...
80-ish?
1880-ish? Yeah. So you just randomly pick which time period you're going to continue with. The judges still wear wigs. Wigs were in the 18 or 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so that you're not seeing them as a person, you're seeing them as a job, isn't it? Like uniforms.
Yeah.
Why they chose to wear a horsehair on their head,
don't know.
I'm not entirely
Well, originally
sure.
it wasn't horsehair, which is gross. And they weren't white. They were just powdered for lice. And they looked white. Welcome to history. There was some poor person's hair that sold it so they could eat, but it was lice-ridden, so they covered it in powder.
And stuck it on their heads.
And stuck it on their own heads. Isn't that lovely?
I know because periwigs went out because it was thought that they were plague victims.
They might have been, for all
After 1665, people started to be a bit squeamish about them.
Yeah. You weren't squeamish about the lice there in the first place? Gross.
I like periwigs, though. I think there's a sort of... the film, The Draughtsman's Contract, they've got wonderful periwigs in that.
I've never seen it.
Not seen it?
No.
Oh, you watch it. Here am I suggesting a film.
What is it called?
The Draughtsman's Contract. Wonderful periwigs, wonderful music, wonderful, beautiful house that he's brought in to draw.
Okay, I will try to find it. Oh, those wigs. Yes, those very long flowing wigs.
Yes, very decadent looking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Her clothing is wrong. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Jason and I started...
This isn't Tudor. This is much later. This is...
I know,
16...
but her clothes are still wrong.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
For if he's wearing a periwig, that is not the correct dress whatsoever.
Oh, it's going to be painful watching this then, isn't it? Or is it going to be painful for Jason to watch?
Oh, Jason will not watch this. He will not. We started watching Gladiator just last week because I've never seen it. And there's a reason why I never see these things.
I've never seen it.
And the very first scene, I started losing my mind. They've got a bloody border collie as their dog. I'm sorry, why didn't you at least get a mastiff, a Rowan mastiff? They had Mollisers. They didn't have border collies in the military. And Jason's like, just shuts it off. He just shut it off and we're like, okay, and we're done. I'm like, this is dumb. Oh, you could be at least a little accurate. Just a little accurate. Come on. I mean, all you have to do... Neapolitan Mastiffs would have been perfect. They would have been great. Like, just use a Mastiff. Any Mastiff is closer than a stupid border collie.
Well, I feel I can't make comments about these things because my dad made a film called Boadicea Viking Queen.
Oh.
So I don't think...
No. No, she was not.
But I said that wasn't his fault. It was called Queen of the Britons, which is also a bit dodgy because that's Wales.
Yes.
But it was a bit closer. But apparently the American backers said, we've never heard of the Britons. Call it the Vikings.
Yeah. Don't watch historical films if you know anything about history.
No.
Ah, dear.
Right, is it your turn?
Is it my turn? Yes, I think
I
it
think
is.
so, yep.
Okay, I think this one's a bit of a tricky one.
They've all been impossible so far.
You are the daughter of one of the rulers or dukes that we have covered. So who would you want to be your father, but you can't choose to be an illegitimate child? Because there are some very nice people that did not have children of their own, but had an illegitimate child.
I'm thinking about the letters between Margaret of Austria and Maximilian. And they were really touching, him calling himself Maxi and saying, one of them, he said something like, "Your loving dad, Maxi, soon to be Pope." He said.
Yes.
And it sounds jokey, and I hope it was. So I thought that was quite a nice relationship. Mm-hmm. But thinking about the letter that Henry wrote to Margaret when she went up to Scotland. Well, it wasn't a letter. He wrote a bit of blurb in her Book of Hours.
Yes.
And it was sort of, "Yours sincerely, King Henry VII" or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
It wasn't. But maybe you just didn't put that sort of thing in a Book of Hours.
No.
Anything too affectionate.
Especially when that Book of Hours is going to be a record of your family.
But yeah, I think I liked the relationship between Margaret of Austria and her dad.
Okay.
Bless him. Bless him.
Bless him. Reading about Margaret of Austria at the moment, I would not choose Maxie.
Oh dear.
The letters are affectionate, but
Okay. Well, if we have this question next year,
we can revisit
Christmas
it.
episode. Yes.
Honestly, when I was going through it, I started thinking I would want to be a daughter of Thomas Stanley.
Right. I assumed you were going to say Isabella, but
No.
then you'll be dragged off to war the whole time.
Yes, and Ferdinand, I don't want to be his daughter. We're only talking about men.
I wrote a song about what a lovely dad he was.
Thanks, Dad, for never paying my dowry and letting me sit in misery for 7 years. Thanks, Dad. Oh, you're going to lock me up. Thanks, Dad. No, Thomas Stanley, from everything that we did hear about him and then further information that I got, he was rather a doting father, apparently.
Well, I know he wasn't going to run into battle while his son might be beheaded, but I thought, well, that would be the least you'd consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a father.
But no, he was quite gentle, and the girls got a say in who they were marrying. So
that's something.
would pick him. At first, I was going to go with Henry VII, because at least he paid the dowries and held up his end of the bargain.
He did.
And it was supposed to be quite a family atmosphere when they were together. It was a very happy, gentle family. But
I don't know, his relationship with Henry Jr.
wasn't so great. But that was
a bit weird.
after Elizabeth and Arthur had died. Everybody says he was different after that.
He was terrified of losing him as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he kept him on a very, very short chain.
Yes. But other than that, it was a very happy family kind of thing with them.
Yeah, I wonder how much that was Margaret and Elizabeth rather than Henry, but
Oh,
could
I
have been
don't
him
know.
too.
That's a good question. Elizabeth spent all of her time with Henry, though. She didn't travel separately, at least not that I ever found. Everywhere Henry was, he kept his wife with him.
No, there was progress that they took down to Wales, and quite a few things I read said it was just her.
Oh.
But it wasn't. They were both
Yeah.
there. So I don't know where the idea that she'd gone alone.
Yeah, because I've never heard that.
So.
And during our researching Henry, his wife was there everywhere. And that was part of the comment about the mother-in-law from hell, because so was Grandma. Grandma was there as often as the wife was there.
But it might explain why he was never unfaithful. Perhaps he just never had the opportunity. I thought, she's always here.
Yeah.
I can't get away.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, well, I'll stick with mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I might. Well, when
We will
when
revisit
we do
the
Margaret,
relationship.
I will come back to that.
Okay.
I think I have a strangely soft spot for Maximilian, and I don't know why.
I don't know if it's a strangely soft spot. He was humorous to us. Like, it was more a catastrophe of bungling rather than a catastrophe of somebody being deliberately vicious.
And the wonderful lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
Yeah, about saying, well, that's all right. I'll be Pope.
Yes.
That's all right. I can be Emperor Pope. It'll be fine. Go on, Castellesi, run back and get it sorted.
It's almost like he's a young child with these great big dreams, and you just don't have the heart to tell them that it's not going to happen.
And also, the next week, it's something else. It's like Toad of Toad Hall, isn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly he's off his canary-coloured cart and he's onto his speedy car.
And you wouldn't kick down a child. It's kind of that. He's a puppy you can't kick.
Yes, I can't wait for Totalis Rankium to do him, and then I think we're going to see a different side.
We'll be like, uh-oh. Oops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, last question. What was a kissing bough?
Isn't that the mistletoe that goes up, but it used to be bigger?
Mistletoe is part of it. Yeah, yeah.
With a little baby in it. Baby Jesus on it.
Oh, I didn't see a baby Jesus, but yeah, I mean, why not?
I thought it did.
I was watching a YouTube video on how to make them, and I thought, no, this year I'm going to make a kissing bough. It's before people started decorating Christmas trees, obviously, and they'd make it to hang from the ceiling to welcome visitors. And it was, you'd make 2 hoops out of evergreen plants, and then you'd put them at 90 degrees to each other to make a sort of sphere. And then inside you'd dangle a pear or an apple or a pine cone or something like that, and have the mistletoe hanging from the bottom. And I thought, that looks really good.
They're really pretty. You can see them online. They're really, really pretty.
Yeah, you can watch how to make them. I'm not sure there'd be much use in our house because our ceilings are so low. We're just going to be getting in the way the whole time.
Huh.
And Rob's 6'4". I mean, the last thing he could do with his...
Whack.
But each thing was obviously means something, because the Tudors were like that. You know, ivy represented dependence and faithfulness. Holly means eternal life, and had Druids worshipped holly, I think. Rosemary was associated with the Virgin Mary because of its blue flowers and her blue gown, and also remembrance, obviously, rosemary for remembrance. Mistletoe was fertility.
Why is mistletoe fertility? I know we kiss under mistletoe still, but...
I don't know. Is it because it's got... I'm thinking about the berries, but then a lot of things have berries. And
Yes. So the kissing bough in Tudor England...
You could put candles on it as well if you're happy with the risk.
Yeah. I remembered it from our very first Christmas episode, and I had found that and thought it was interesting. So the kissing bough, a wreath or a double hoop with roots in earlier pagan folklore, I can't even speak, was taken. The kissing bough was woven from mistletoe, ash, hazel, or willow, covered in evergreens, supporting an effigy of baby Jesus in the center, usually in a cradle.
Oh, well, I didn't see that. Maybe these were sort of modern sort of recreations of it, and perhaps they thought having baby Jesus in the middle was a little bit tacky.
Yeah. Nope. That's what they did.
Okay, well, if I make one, I'm not going to go for the baby Jesus option. I'll go for a pine cone or a pear or something.
Okay. Why a pear? Do we know why a pear?
Because they're round, I suppose. You'd still have some.
Yes.
You'd have had them stored up.
In the attic.
In your... Yeah.
Cool.
Well, there we are. Everyone can make a kissing bough for Christmas. And send us pictures of them. Send us pictures of you standing next to them, grinning and gurning and doing a thumbs up sign.
Oh, am I going to have to try to figure out how to make one of these? We do it? Because it's not a wreath. It is sort of a globe.
Yeah, it's 2 wreaths sort of slotted together.
Yeah.
It looked quite easy from the video.
Oh, did they?
But then she's probably made hundreds of them. So.
Really pretty, though. They're really pretty. Oh, that's the end of our Christmas episode. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yes, we hadn't recorded for a while as well, so that was nice to get back in the saddle.
Yes.
Everyone, have a very, very happy Christmas.
A very Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you... Well, we've got another episode, New Year, forcing Patreon down your throat as we do every year. But yeah, we've got loads of episodes on Patreon now, so if you wanted to give yourself a belated Christmas gift, that's the one to go for.
Welcome there. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and goodbye.
Goodbye.